outside reality in order to prove a point that someone less dedicated would be forced to concede. Listen to this example of Utah General Counsel John Fellows as he asks the same question over and over again.
Just a couple of questions, Mr. DeBacchus. You've used the term disenfranchise quite frequently. You don't mean to suggest that Democrats won't have the right to vote, do you? Are you saying that Democrats and Republicans in Utah will not be able to vote for the candidate of their choice?
I am saying that the evidence is quite clear.
Are you saying that Democrats and Republicans in Utah will not be able to vote for the candidates of their choice?
I am saying that as a result of this interaction, that there is very little motivation for both Democrats and Republicans to vote in this state.
Let me put the question another way, since you seem unwilling to answer it yes or no. If you're a Democrat,
some questions are not yes and no questions.
Well, you've made allegations of disenfranchisement, and that means usually depriving people of the right to vote.
Usually,
and I'm
not
trying
in this
to
case.
suggest whether you're using that term in the sense that you believe people are being deprived of the right to vote.
I've tried to answer that 5 times to explain what I meant by that term. Do you want to interrupt me, or do you
Yes,
want
I
me to
do,
answer?
because
Okay.
you're ducking the question. I want to know if you're a Democrat living in Utah County or a Republican living on the east side of Salt Lake County, if you'd be able to vote in the election.
Do you see what he did there? The word disenfranchise has several definitions. For example, Mr. Fellows took one definition. He pretended that it was the only definition of the example word instead of granting the point that Mr. DeBacchus was referring to a different definition of that very same word. The lesson we learn here is, 1. Repeating a distortion allows no one to explore the truth. 2. Blocking the use of equal definitions blocks open debate. 3. Using condescending tones is a good way to win a fake argument. 4. All of the above. If you chose number 4, you are ready to move on to the next stage of gerrymandering. Almost as important as denying the flexibility of the English language is the ability to drip scorn as you pretend to be following the blueprints of an open debate. Be careful at this point. Decades of majority entitlement may cause you to underestimate the intelligence of your intended victim. Let's take a look at an example.
Representative Lockhart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have quite a few questions, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. DeBacchus. What is your definition of gerrymandering?
What you guys have done.
Well, that was an unfortunate misstep. When you allow the target of your vitriolic scorn to score points with truth and honesty, you have lost control of your dog and pony show. This is a good time to pull out your smoke and mirrors and get this gerrymander back on track. When you find yourself overmatched by someone you expected to genuflect to your authority, it's time to pull out the concentrated talking points and start the storm of political dogma.
I think you did this. Did you compare the state of Utah to a banana republic?
I did the results of our gerrymandering. That is.
You also mentioned a few times,
well, if you don't
sir.
want me to answer, then
Thank you. You said yes. That's how I took that answer. You also mentioned a few times that we live in a democracy. Do you not believe that we live in a republic?
I think that is a childish kind of.
I appreciate that. I think that you saying
can go back and forth. I think we live.
Do you? You did mention that you think that what it sounded like you were saying is that you would like to have a parliamentary type of system of government rather than a republic.
I didn't say anything
Is that
about.
well? You mentioned being represented by the percentage of voters for each party, which goes towards the kinds of systems that we see, like in Great Britain. Is that what you're advocating for the state of Utah?
Madam Speaker, no, that's not what I'm advocating.
That's what it sounded like.
What I said.
You also mentioned,
well,
Mr. DeBacchus, you also mentioned that these maps mysteriously appeared. Have they not been on the internet?
Sometimes only good red meat can salvage the unfortunate happenstance of a conversation run to pesky reality. What have we learned here? 1. Don't stop talking. 2. Don't let them answer. 3. Never let the topic at hand get in the way of just making dogmatic noise. or 4, all of the above. If you chose number 4, you too can keep your gerrymander all for fun and profit and not cave to the demands of those annoying citizens. When your gerrymander is coasting into its final days, there is one last important step to take to ensure your mathematically engineered guarantee of victory. Never, ever let a better point be spoken.
You're very adept at ducking questions.
I'm not adept. I'm adept, I hope, at representing hundreds of thousands of Utah citizens who wish they could be here and went through this charade of hearings and pretending like everything was going to be done that was blatantly to protect incumbents. That sucks the energy and enthusiasm out of Utah voters. And for partisan gain, you have managed to create a system which is bad for democracy and bad for the state.